Medical assistance teams that usually respond to overseas humanitarian disasters will hit the ground in Melbourne today to help with a massive operation to stem the spread of COVID-19 in aged care. 1 in 6 active cases in Victoria is now linked to nursing homes with more than 800 infections. The state has recorded 9 deaths in the last 24 hours, 7 of them linked to aged care.
Well, further north, several government and Catholic schools in Sydney, as well as a preschool, will be closed today amid confirmed or suspected coronavirus cases, and testing's being ramped up in southeast Queensland after 2 young women didn't self-isolate after returning from Melbourne. Now let's bring in James Hancock in Melbourne and Kate McKenna in Brisbane, also Lily Mayers in Sydney. James, we'll start with you in Melbourne. Another day where it's not looking good for aged care in Victoria.
That's certainly right. The virus has spread to 87 aged care homes in Victoria. About 60 residents here at Epping Gardens in Melbourne's north have tested positive for the virus. Many residents have been evacuated by ambulances to public and private hospitals in recent days. It's been a massive operation to ease pressure on overwhelmed staff here. Extra health workers have been brought in. We've seen some of them arriving this morning, and the Defence Force has also been deployed to this aged care home, with 2 army tents being set up next to the aged care home. For families of the residents both here and at other aged care homes, it's been a nightmare. Some families have waited days for accurate information about their loved ones. 2 residents of Epping Gardens have died, and 7 of the 9 deaths reported yesterday were from private sector aged care homes.
OK, so what's happening in the homes today, James?
Well, the Australian Medical Assistance Team has been brought in to Victoria. It's described as the SAS of the medical world, normally deployed to humanitarian disasters overseas. This time the crisis is on home soil, so they'll be helping nurses and Defence Force personnel to deal with these outbreaks in aged care homes across Victoria.
OK, let's go to Kate McKenna in Brisbane. Kate, what's the situation in Queensland this morning?
Well, Queensland Police are continuing to investigate how 2 women gained entry to Queensland despite coming from Melbourne, a banned COVID hotspot. Authorities say those women didn't self-isolate, and their border declaration passes contained incorrect information. Now, yesterday we saw a 3rd woman, a close contact of the pair, also test positive. And what's that led to is a massive contact tracing effort on Brisbane South Side and Logan, as authorities work to determine how this has impacted. And what that's seen is 2 schools closed for cleaning, multiple shops and restaurants, and the Deputy Premier, Stephen Miles, spoke on local radio a short time ago, and he said he wouldn't be surprised if it leads to more cases today. And what authorities also did was put aged care homes in the Metro South region in Brisbane into lockdown as a precaution. And those homes, though, say that they feel well prepared and that they're implementing contact tracing for all visitors, as well as PPE for contractors.
It's just a stunning story. As I understand it, the allegation is that these 2 young women travelled around for 8 days after allegedly returning from Melbourne. Where did they supposedly travel?
Well, quite a few places, Ben. We know that one of the women worked as a cleaner at Parklands Christian College, and another woman, the 22-year-old woman who tested positive yesterday, she's also attached to the after-hours care at Chatswood Hill Primary School. So those 2 schools are both closed for cleaning today, and Queensland Health released a list of other places yesterday, and it's quite extensive. We know that they visited Peanut Street Noodles at South Bank, Thai Peak Restaurant at Springfield, and the African Grocery Shop at Woodridge. So authorities are asking all people who've been to those locations to immediately self-isolate and contact authorities. So that those contact tracing efforts will just continue today, and we'll await to hear more information from authorities.
OK, let's head down to Sydney. Lily Mayers is with us. Lily, we've got a number of schools closing in Sydney today.
That's right, Ben. A public school and 2 Catholic schools will be closed today because of a confirmed or suspected cases. 4th Street High School here in Petersham is one of those schools. It will be closed today because of a possible case. Two Catholic schools in Sydney's west will be closed after only reopening yesterday after 2 confirmed cases there. That's because a family with a student at both the Mary Immaculate Primary School in Bosley Park and the Freeman Catholic College in Bonnyrigg Heights have returned positive tests. So neither student went to school yesterday, but both campuses will now be closed until August the 10th. And there's also an Everlearn preschool at Preston's, which will be closed today after a suspected case there.
OK, thank you. That's Lily Mayers in Sydney, Kate McKenna in Brisbane, James Hancock in Melbourne. But a Melbourne woman who last week posted a video of herself defying police at a lockdown checkpoint has been arrested. 28-year-old Eve Black's car was intercepted in Carlton in Melbourne's inner north yesterday afternoon. Police say her window was broken after she refused to speak to officers or step out of her car. She's been released and will face various charges for traffic-related offences and breaches of the Chief Health Officer's directives.